therapy.
Well, she hasn't started.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have 7 o'clock right now, and I'll call the Mulberry City Council to order this time. If everyone would please stand, we'll have help me prayer. Father in heaven, we do thank you so much, Lord, for a great day that you've given us today. Thank you, Lord, for all the blessings you've bestowed upon us. We're very grateful and very thankful. Thank you, Lord, for our council members, and thank you for our citizens. Lord, we just pray that you give us positive direction as we do the business of the city. Lord. Thank you, Lord, for all of those who give of their time and talents, our military, that are serving, our law enforcement, firefighters, all of those EMTS, doctors, those that just serve us for our lives to be safe and secure and better. And we pray, Father, that you'd use us all for the Lord Christ, which is we pray.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, we will have a roll call. Sarah, would you do the roll call?
Wilma Peavy,
Yes.
Bobby Freeman,
Here.
Sheila Trent, here, Jason Munt, here, Kimberly Bruce, here, Jenny Moore,
Here.
Carla Sutherland, here, Mayor Baxter.
Here. Next on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. Your minutes in March, all your financial statements are mailed to you or hand delivered this time, council, and good opportunity to go over those. Are there any changes, additions, corrections that need to be made to the minutes or financial statements?
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any discussions?
Wilma. Bobby.
Yes.
Sheila.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Jimmy.
Yes.
Stacy.
Yes.
Next,
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
thank you. On the agenda, we'll go into departmental reports, and first report is by our police department. Chief Gregory's here. Chief, have a good report.
Ladies and gentlemen, as for March, we had 178 calls, 92 traffic stops, 35 citations, 32 being traffic or criminal, 3 being parking, 40 arrests, 13 felony, 27 misdemeanor, 40 reports, and 12 assist outside agencies, 484 business checks. So it was pretty busy in March. So, do y'all have any questions, concerns, anything I can help y'all with tonight? All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, Chief. Next, fire department report. Captain Jason Sumter is here to give the fire department report.
Good evening, everybody. Mayor Baxter said, my name is Jason. That's one of y'all don't know me. I think most of you do. For the month of March, fire department had 23 total calls, 6 of those being fires and 17 being medical. Of the fires, 2 of them were structure fires, 4 of them were grass fires. The medical, 14 were medical, and 33 were motor vehicle accidents. As y'all probably know, we recently lost the assistant chief, Mike Gray, and if Chief Martin was not able to be here, then you'll probably see my face. Everybody's pulling together and stepping up and taking some responsibilities that Mike had. Doing pretty good there. We're starting to work on the fire department, the fireworks, which is going to be in June 26th. I know we're going to have bounce around for the gift unit and a water slide. That's the only 100% decision we've made so far, but we're working on that. We are gonna dedicate a memory of Mike Bray this year. That's all I have. If y'all have any questions?
Thank you, Captain. I greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate you stepping up in that position and leadership role. Next is the Public Works, Mr. Jim Jones, Director of Public Works, asking to be excused tonight. And suggests Public Works has, started in our mowing season, started in keeping things cleaned up. They worked on a few of our areas that had to make some water repairs and worked on a few of those areas in the last month. But they're doing well. We had one of our street department, Secretary Alex Walker, today was his last day. He found another job that he's going to, it's paying him a lot more money. So we wished him well as he left. And so really looking at replacing that position in the Public Works Department. Is there any questions that you might have for Public Works that I can get back to you? Okay. Let's, so right now we have all business. There's listed none, but since that time, I wanted to bring back our water superintendent, Janet Phipps. He has it's old business, but it's coming up. It's not, it's with the forestry, our logging operation, and he's got a report. So, Mr. Phipps, would you come up and give your report to the council on, you have what you want to give on the results of the operation?
Colors don't mean anything special.
I thought that was a testing.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say the white one's for good guys, the black one's for bad guys, and the other colors are for those I'm not sure which they are, so. But not really.
I turned mine off too, so I don't know.
It wasn't yours, it's that one when you walked up to
Okay,
it.
is this one, yeah?
And I couldn't find a paisley for Jim, but he's not here anyway, so. All right. Well, I tried to make this a fairly easy read, so I won't spend a lot of time with it. I'll just kind of do a summarizing of it. But we had, it was from 3/4 to 3/15. Roy Hodges Logging Incorporated, they harvested timber and pulpwood from the water treatment plant acreage up there. And we had there were a number of reasons for harvesting it. And I list those out there, but there were a couple that it was not just for the revenues. I want to make that clear. It wasn't just for the revenues. It was also because we had some areas that needed cleared of trees anyway. We got the expansion coming up, and a lot of people might not have been aware, but on the east side, across there's a little road that runs around the plant. And on the east side of that road, right above the clarifier, there were pine trees that anytime you had any kind of wind at all, and sometimes even with the wind, I think, but pollen anyway, but if there was any kind of breeze at all, it would blow the pine needles and the pollen into the clarifier. So that was an issue. It put a lot of organics in the clarifier. So all those trees on that side needed cleared anyway. So why not get paid for them? And then, of course, the expansion area, there was a lot of trees in the expansion area. So it would have been something we had to pay for anyway. there are additional benefits, and like I say, I won't spend a lot of time on it because you can read it, and I try to make it easy to read. I encourage you to read it. But, you know, there were numerous issues that we wanted to cover, and so that was the reasoning behind it. It took a long time to find a contractor. That was, I wish we could have found one, and they could have paid us a lot of money for it, and, you know, we had tons of money coming in from all the trees, but we could not find anybody. We tried for months. I tried, Darren tried. We called everybody in the book that we could know and tried to network everything, couldn't find anybody. So we were just blessed, I think, to be able to find somebody that did it. And so there was reasons for that, and I listed the reasons here, and you can read those. But there were reasons why nobody wanted to do it, but this company did do it for us. And as far as, you know, we had some back and forth on the price, but I was, you know, we did research on the price of the timber, and what I come up with is ultimately your trees, if you look at that on the website, so ultimately your trees are what somebody's willing to pay, and also depend on market conditions. So we got something from them, and that's, I mean, I wish we could have got a lot more, but we got something from them, and that's better than paying somebody to come in and take them out for. So that still was a good move, I think. We did provide plenty of oversight of it. Look on page 3, we did provide oversight. The loggers were they're very good folks. They're just, I was impressed with them. Darren was impressed with them. They did what we asked them to do. They didn't try to do stuff that we didn't ask them to do. They tried to help us out as much as they could while they were there doing the jobs they were doing. You know, they had to get in some pretty rough areas to get the timber out. They did that. And so, you know, we were pleased with the operation. And also, after it was over, we met with Arkansas State Forestry Commission. They came out and looked at the site. They said that they told us the loggers had done a great job of leaving in good shape for replanting. So they said there was a minimum amount of cleanup needed for the replant. Any remaining stuff that was laying out there was not burned in the brush piles that they piled up for us with naturally decaying and nutrients for the soil that would help with the new tree growth. So they did do a good job. Even the Forestry Service said they did a good job. We do have seedlings ordered for replanting the harvested area. Darren ordered those on 4/14, and so we got those coming. And we've also contacted the planters. We will be getting with them as far as coming out to redo it, replant. So I was trying to make sure everybody knew and understood that it's not just the monetary benefit of the tree harvest. You can't just calculate it on that, based on that alone, because there was also the consideration of the fact that we saved by not having to have someone come in and pay them to take those trees out above the clarifier expansion area. And if eventually, if we get a aerator down there, if that works out, if that goes, you know, I'm gonna have a proposal for that, but if that works out, then they cleared that area pretty much too. There's a couple more trees that they'll have to go in with a chainsaw, but other than that, they cleaned it out pretty good. So, so there's intangible benefits as well. You can read over those. Of course, the benefits that we can assign a monetary value to, those are there also. One question that a few people have raised was, what about the road? Because they realized that when those trucks went through on the road, it did do some damage there. But, you know, our response to that is the road was already in pretty bad shape. There wasn't really a lot. I mean, it's going to have to be repaired and redone anyway. And not only that, but we've got, when the expansion comes in, there's going to be dozers. There's going to be, you know, dozers, backhoes, trackhoes, dump trucks. That wasn't me. So all that heavy equipment and stuff is going to be coming over the road anyway. So whatever the loggers did is going to look pale in comparison to what the, you know, when the expansion gets going underway, it's they're going to do much more. The underlying condition of the road is not really any worse than it was. So we did check and see what the process of clearing that off if we hadn't harvested the timber and we just had to have it cleared off, which we needed done. Well, Clearwell would have been $4,000 to $5,000 to clear those trees. The clarifier area clear off would have been $2,500 to $3,000. The lake swath down there for the aerator, if we did get to put that in, would be $2,500 to $3,000. So we're looking at $9,000 to $11,000 if they were done as individual jobs. We also asked them though if they did it as a single job, so rather than 3 separate jobs, and it would have been $7,500. So at a minimum, we saved $7,500. The city did not have to pay by doing what we did. So, and there I've got a graph there shows the loads. We had 9 loads of pulpwood at $60 per load, came out to $540. For the saw logs, we had 44 loads of saw timber at $275 a load, and that came to $12,100. So the total of the two, you get $12,640. So that's generated revenue. But then again, if you go with the avoided expenditures, at a minimum of $7,500, you get at least $20,140. So that was a minimum. And then my conclusions are this: the city managed to accomplish numerous worthwhile goals from a single operation. We've added needed revenues to the city's finances, cleared nuisance trees away from the water clarifier, water treatment clarifier at no cost to the city. We cleared treatment plant expansion area of trees at brush at no cost to the city. The fire hazards are greatly reduced right now. With lesser trees out there, there's less chance of fire. Of course, we want to grow those trees back, but for now it's, I mean, those were, a lot of those trees were really close together and really, there's brush, there was a lot of underbrush and undergrowth in there, stuff that would have been very flammable. So, reduce the chances of storm damage at the backwash pump station and PV's pump station. Cleared an area that needed if the raw intake area is approved. Provided for renewed stimulated regrowth of trees on the property and the overall lake ecosystem as an added benefit. And then of course we're going to reseed the property. It's going to grow up again, be for additional generations that are coming up. So we're not going to just tear it up and leave it. We're going to it's going to be nice again. It's not really, but wrong choice of words. We didn't tear it up. We just harvested it. It is. But I mean, people go up there right now, they look like it, but it's going to grow up. It's all going to grow back up. And it's and right now it'll allow that sunlight and everything to get into the other tree. So, if success can be measured in the physical and financial accomplishment of set goals, then it would be hard to evaluate this operation as anything other than a successful undertaking for the city. And then if you add the additional intangible benefits that I also listed in there, that you can't really assign a monetary value to, then it just looks even better. So anyway, those are yours to keep. Keep them and cherish them always. Thank you.
Council, have any additional questions for Jim? 2 times that I would like to request the council to change a council meeting, and that is in June 15th. I'd like to request that to go to the 22nd because, as you know, that's the time of the Arkansas Municipal League, and I'll be rotating off as president of the Arkansas Municipal League, and so I'll be participating in those functions. So I request the council approve changing the June meeting, slipping it 1 week to June the 22nd. And then in October 19th meeting, request that to be slipped 1 week because that's during the Arkansas Rural Development Conference. And we were not able to have that last year. As you know, that's vitally important to our city that we have participation in the Rural Development Conference. So if y'all could look at that June meeting, move it to the 22nd, and October to the 26th. Do y'all have any questions about that, or would you grant approval to do that?
I make a motion to approve those movements of dates.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Wilma,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Stacy.
Thank you. Next, on the new business review, potential condemnation of some properties. First one listed is 451 Hurd. Monica, would you come and read those resolutions to the city council?
And I do not have resolution numbers on these because depending on whether you pass or whatever, we'll write those numbers in once they're passed. This is a resolution number potentially 2021-04. A resolution declaring certain buildings, houses, and other structures located at 451 Hurd in Mulberry, Arkansas to constitute a public nuisance and to be in continuing violation of city ordinance and condemning said structures, providing a period of time for property owner to abate said conditions and nuisance and for other purposes. Whereas the buildings and structures whose location is set forth herein are vacant and have become run down, dilapidated, unsightly, dangerous, obnoxious, unsafe, not fit for human habitation, and detrimental to the public welfare of Mulberry, Arkansas, citizens and residents. Whereas the property is in violation of the Mulberry cleanup ordinances and the property owner has been sent a cleanup notice and was ordered by the city to bring the property into compliance with the ordinance but has failed to do so as of today's date. Whereas the property owners, Lee and Patricia Hackler, have been notified about the nuisance conditions and ordinance violations of the property but have failed to adequately abate the conditions. Whereas the condition of such property constitutes a serious fire and health hazard to the city of Mulberry, Arkansas, and unless immediate actions are taken to remedy this situation by removing, raising, and abating said nuisance, there is a great likelihood that the surrounding property may be destroyed by fire originating from such unsafe and hazardous structures. And also that since structures are without proper sanitary facilities and such are unsafe and hazardous and a breeding place for rats, rodents, and other dangerous germ carriers of diseases, such buildings constitute a serious hazard to the health and safety of the citizens of Mulberry, Arkansas, and they should be moved or raised for the purpose of eliminating such hazards. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Mulberry, Arkansas as follows. Section 1, that the City Council hereby declares the buildings, houses, and other structures located at the property identified in Section 2 below to be vacant and run down, dilapidated, unsafe, unsightly, dangerous, obnoxious, unsanitary, a fire hazard, a menace to abutting properties, with the current condition of said structures not being fit for human habitation. And because of such conditions, the City Council declares the same to be condemned as a public nuisance and is ordered to be abated, removed, or raised by the owner thereof. Section 2, that the owner of record of this following described property is hereby directed to raise the same or otherwise abate the said nuisance within 30 days after the posting of a true copy of this resolution at a conspicuous place upon the structure, constituting the nuisance described herein as 451 Hurd, Mulberry, Arkansas, owned by Lee and Patricia Hackler. The property is also identified as Crawford County parcel number 760-00043-000. The Mulberry Police Department shall also serve a copy of this resolution upon the owners, Lee and Patricia Hackler. Section 3. If the aforementioned structures have not been raised and or removed within 30 days after posting a true copy of this resolution at a conspicuous place upon the structures constituting the nuisance, or the nuisance otherwise abated, the structure shall be torn down and or removed by the mayor of Mulberry, Arkansas, or his duly designated representative. Each separate and distinct offense of the city's cleanup ordinance, ordinance number 79-6, amended by ordinance number 83-6, punishable by a fine of $50 for each such separate and distinct offense. Section 4, that the provisions of this resolution are hereby declared to be severable, and if any section, phrase, or provisions shall be declared phrases or provisions. Section 5, that this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage in the group.
Thank you. Council, you had that on the agenda, and you had opportunity to go by and take a look at that properties. But Sarah, Council, our court clerk has photos of that property, and if anyone would like to look at that property, could you make those photos available to the council?
Say